You guys is the conversation marketing side of it. I know we were just talking a little bit about email marketing, and the better off you can be at the conversation, the more you can be just like a person and have an everyday just chatting with somebody, the better off you're going to be. So some of the topics we're going to cover is the scary questions, the one that all of you guys hate to get, and that's what is it, or what's your pitch, what's the product, and how much does it cost? Those are the two scariest questions you can possibly get in the beginning. And what I'm going to show you is a couple ways you can actually get around that question completely, and it doesn't look like you're dodging them. Okay, so it's going to be a super kind of throw it under the rug kind of way to get out of it, and it'll be really fun for you guys. And the first time you get to do it, it's pretty funny actually. And then what is a BIC? And that is a break in communication. And that's what I'm going to talk to you guys about today, is how you throw in a break in communication where it looks like you were just casual conversation and you were so busy at the time you were talking that, hey, I'd love to chat with you, but I got to go. So, and then the one most important thing that everybody messes up is the follow-up. And if you don't follow up with people or have a system in place for you guys that's consistent, the follow-up is where you're going to make all your money. That's where you become a person again. You follow up with a buddy if you start a conversation with them and then 2 days later you said you were going to, hit them back, right? So that's where most of my money is all in the follow-up. I rarely go through a chat script one time and get a sale. It just doesn't work. I mean, we're talking about $500, $1,000 products or even more, right? So it's not instantaneous like that. You can't expect to go through a whole chat script one time with a person you just met and make a sale. Now, are those people out there? Absolutely. It will happen, but it's going to be a rarity. So if you get through the chat script and you get to the end and they don't buy right away, don't sweat it. Don't sweat it. All right. Just that's where the follow-up comes in. You got to put a reminder somewhere and keep going. So question we're going to go through. So attitude and perception. So what is your attitude with the prospect? And you can show a little bit of attitude through IM, right? We show LOLs or ha-has and all that stuff in the beginning, right? We're trying to change an emotional state. But what is your attitude? When you're talking to a prospect, is your attitude, oh man, I hope I have to close this sale or I'm not going to make it this month. Oh, I have to make $500. Oh, I have to get this. Like, is it all about you or is it about the prospect and helping that prospect out? So that's what you have to see. So you have to have the right mindset going into that sale or going into that conversation, that it's not about you. It can't ever be about you. It has to be bigger than that. And what's your energy like? So when you're coming through IM, are you sitting there like, man, I've been prospecting for an hour and a half and I just want to make a sale? Or I've been sitting at this damn computer so long, I just want to go to bed, right? If that's your mental attitude and that's where your head's at, what do you think that pushes onto the prospect, or what's that push onto them? So you have to seriously take that into consideration. And then what's your voice? What's your voice saying? If you get them on the phone, which I hope we get to, right? I'm going to talk about what we're going to do to get them on the phone later. But if you get them on the phone, where's your pitch? Where's your tone? Are you excited? Are you down and out? Did something just happened bad at work and you kind of carrying it over into the conversation? You have to look at it from their side and see exactly how you feel. And if your energy is good and you're pushing off good energy to them, the likelihood of that sale closing is so much better. You guys have no idea. If you can just get a good positive vibe, it's going to be awesome. So another thing is, how much are you saying to that prospect? Whose conversation is longer? Do you have just a couple little sentences and they have long paragraphs, or is it the other way around? Because if you have really long sentences and what you're saying outweighs what they're showing, you're doing it wrong. You're pitching, and we shouldn't be pitching. This is where the conversation comes in. We're not pitching products. We're building relationships and talking to people. And how long is the conversation? So this is where you can get into a few different ways of pitching our products without pitching. I know that's weird. the full script. That is the one you guys are using right now, right? You guys have a script from A to B. You can go all the way through that. But remember, like I said in the beginning, the likelihood of that being a closing script is pretty low. I mean, we're talking probably less than 5%. So if you think that's going to be the end all be all, that's not going to work for you. You're going to have to end that on a positive note, or end it in a way where you're going to talk to that person and add some value to them. So then you can go with the value no pitch option, right? This is where you find somebody online. You see that they have a problem, whether it's on one of the other opportunities you're with, or if it's in a blog, maybe it's on YouTube. You see this person is having trouble with whatever it is, Aweber. It could be funnels. It can be anything, right? And if you have just a clue on how to possibly maybe help that person, all you have to do is shoot a nice little easy message to them and say, hey, I've had the same problem. I know exactly how you feel. All right, now we're getting into the feelings part of it, and then help them out. And if it gets bigger than you or gets above you, just work through it together. So that's instantly building a relationship with that person. You reached out of the goodness of your heart just to help them out. And now you weren't pitching anything. You weren't even talking about your opportunity. So, and then the third way to do it is the break-in communication. And that's going to be a new one for you guys tonight. If you haven't used it, it's going to be a lifesaver for you, because this is the one that's actually going to get you out of those questions that you hate to answer. So that's going to be the fun one to teach. All right, two scariest questions you guys get. Just about every time you talk to somebody, right? Every conversation, eventually you're going to have to tell them what it is or how much it costs. It's going to come up, I promise. So what I don't want you guys to do is I don't want you to panic. You want them to want to know. If they're asking you these questions, that's a good thing. They're at least paying attention, right? They're not talking off in the woods and doing something else. So don't panic. We'll get you a way to get out of that question. It's kind of fun. And it's the question you want to hear. So simple method for controlling the situation of how much it costs. We're going to talk about that one actually towards the end. And you're going to do it in two different ways. The script way, are they even qualified to work with you? If they go right into that before you even go into any type of pitch, you bet your first two conversations back and forth is how much does it cost? That makes it a little tougher, right? At that point, remember, not every prospect is going to be great for this opportunity. They're not going to be a great teammate for you. So remember, you're in charge. You're the one that's prospecting them. They're not prospecting you. And sometimes that gets lost. So what is it? Break-in communication. So this is the fun part. All you're doing is when you start this conversation with somebody, this can be completely real, or it can be a small little bluff or fabricated lie. You can call it whatever you want, but it can be real or fabricated. And all it's for the example down there, it's like, would you be at all open to a side project if it didn't interfere with what you're doing? Is one of the questions. They say, yeah. Here's the kicker. That's after you make the BAC. And some examples are up there on the right. So here's a good one. You're in the middle of your conversation. You've already got the LOL. You've done all the small talk. Okay. So the small talk's out of the way. You haven't talked about any products. You did the hey, hellos, and all that stuff. So, hey, I have to jump on a webinar. Then would you be at all open to a side project if it didn't interfere with what you have going on? All right. So now you just said that you're busy, but you have time real quick to talk about something. Or, hey, I'm about to go in this meeting, but it may be for you, may not be for you, but would you be at all open to a side project, right? So what does that do for you? That gives you an out. That gives you the break in communication. Now that person, they get to the point where they start asking you some of the questions that you don't want to answer in the beginning, which is what it is and how much it costs, before you can actually go in and talk to them and build a relationship with them. This is the moneymaker. Now you go, oh man, now remember that meeting I had? I really got to go. And then you get them on the phone, or you get them on a webinar, or you get them like this. And that's the moneymaker. So if you take anything out of this, it's those examples. Pick what you want. You're always doing something. You're throwing kids around. You're you're actually at work, you're whatever it is. So, hey, I'm getting the kids ready for school. Would you be at all open to a side project if it didn't interfere with your current position or current work? If you're targeting somebody you don't really know, right? That should work. And that makes it a little more personable, right? It says you have kids, obviously you're doing this on your free time too. So it just depends on what kind of approach you're personally taking for that prospect. So now they already asked the scary question, right? This is where you get out of it. You just reinstate the basic thing. Hey, I'm going to this meeting, like I said, but can I call you on whatever day? So here's where a lot of people are going to go wrong, is you're way too open. Your schedule is not booked. All right, you have to think like the top surgeon in the country. They better be crawling in to talk to you. Like, you have to have that mentality, that feel, because if you're just like, oh yeah, you can call me tomorrow at 1, 2, 3, 4. Actually, I'm open. Just call me anytime. Right? What does that say? It says you're not busy, right? Exactly. So it says you're not busy. You're obviously new, right? So we want to sound busy. And this works. I'd love to say 100% of the time, but it works a very high percentage of the time. I have used this for years. In the Square app, this is a little side caveat. In the Square app, when my wife and I were doing our first at-home business, they actually have a button where you can pick how busy you want to make that schedule. 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70% full, right? And it just blocks out that percentage. So if it's good enough for Square and all of the companies that use that product and that's scheduling software, I'm pretty sure it's okay for us to use in a prefabricated little, hey, I'm busy, I need to call you next week. How about Tuesday? Looks like I'm open at 6. Are you available? Here's my number. What's yours? Always throw your number out first. Okay, that takes a little bit of the pressure off. And it's good. So then, and then the money's in the follow-up. Obviously, that's what we're trying to get to. We're trying to get them on the phone. We're trying to get them like this, face-to-face in the computer. And then you're going to set the day. This is kind of the psychological part of it. You promise that you're going to call them on said day. What does that do? Psychologically, that tells them that they're getting something out of it. And when you're like, oh, I promise I'll do it, it kind of puts you below them in a way, if you think about it. So now you're promising them, it's like, hey, I have something for you, but I promise I'm going to get back to you. And psychologically, they're kind of on the upper hand here, which is exactly where you want them. And here's what I was talking about for the follow-up. You have to think busy, and think about it like back in school or back in high school, or you had the attraction factor in school, right? So the most popular girl or the most popular guy, right? They were always the busiest. But the available person comes off as a little bit different. They're a little too open. It's not, you want the chase. Guys enjoy the chase, right? Okay. It's the same thing. Same thing here. You want prospects chasing you. And you want to schedule it days out. So this is where it's going to get a little fun and fabricated again, right? So you scheduled it out for next week, Tuesday. All of a sudden, miraculously, 2 days later, I don't know how it happened, but you got an opening. It was crazy. So now all of a sudden, hey, I just don't say cancellation. You don't want to say you had a cancellation, because another psychological thing that looks a little different, like why would they cancel on you? You just say, hey, I have an opening. Are you available in 2 hours or tomorrow at this time, or whatever you want to say? But now you already have an opening. So looks like you're super busy, and now you're taking the time out for them, right? And now I promise I'll call you on said time. Once again, they're kind of up there. You just opened up a hole in your busy schedule for them. Now it looks like you're going out of the way for them. So here are some follow-up tools for you guys. Personally, this is the hardest part because of the way we market and the way we target. Now, don't think of a follow-up as somebody that you only made time to make a phone call for, or you made time to get on the webinar with, or face-to-face. You have to think about all those people that were a little hesitant in your Facebook contact when you were chatting with them, and they didn't, you didn't end the conversation with any type of pitch or sending a video or whatever it was. These are the people that you should probably just say, hey, what's going on, a couple days later. And you have to put those people in your contacts somewhere, because you're going to lose them. If you're doing 15, 20, 30 chats a day, those people will get so far down that you will completely forget about them. And those are the ones that you've already started to build a relationship with, right? So those are the people that already know you. And then obviously all of the ones that are consistently posting or talking to you on your Facebook page, right? Those are the money ones. And the more you do it, the more you're going to see the same people. And once you start doing that, then you target them. But don't lose the little conversations that you've already spent some time on because you didn't get them face-to-face, or you didn't get them on the phone. So make sure you get them. I use Google Calendar most of the time. As soon as I'm done typing, I'll throw a reminder in my calendar. Siri is good, but sometimes she does not listen properly, right? I don't know what happens in her brain, but she puts things where she shouldn't. And then I always screw it up. So just a little caveat on that. Another one I use for planning day-to-day as well as calendar is Priority Matrix. If you haven't had a chance to check it out, I'm pretty sure it is free for mobile. If you're going to do it on the phone or on the computer, you have to pay. It is not an affiliate. Well, actually, I don't know. I've never looked into it to see if it was an affiliate program, but I doubt it. But it is awesome for making things priority, for SWOT analysis, for marketing, you name it, they can do it. And that is an awesome one. And then whatever you need to remember is the bottom line. I don't care what you use. If you use Excel, whatever. It's just use something that is going to give you reminders, that's going to keep you on top of it, because all of your money is going to come from your follow-ups. Rarely are you going to go through the script and get it on that first sale. Another scary question. Okay, this is probably right up there. They're probably equally as scary. How much does it cost? Now, if you're going through the chat script, right, this is a little bit easier because you have to be pre-qualified first. We say they have to be pre-qualified, but do they? So now if you do a breaking communication, it's a little bit different. So you could use the breaking communication here. They're like, hey, how much does it cost? They could go right into that. Don't freak out. Just use the same model. Hey, like I said, I'm getting ready to go to this meeting, but would you be at all welcome to chat later? So the goal is to not always hear it from you. So don't be afraid to use some of those videos. There are plenty of videos out there that are great for the products, and you shouldn't be afraid to send the link. I don't want you guys sending a link early. We've talked about that multiple times. Don't just throw links around, because it's frustrating to you. It's frustrating to everybody that you do it to as well. So if you do, get them to a good video of it and then follow up with them. Remember, that's where the money is. So the way to get around it, because this is, I think, true for just about every opportunity for everybody that's on here, is, well, it depends. There are actually multiple levels, but the truth is it might not be a fit for you. So if you say it like that, and so it could cost nothing. So if you say it like that, it kind of puts them on the upper hand again, right? This is, hey, we have multiple levels here, and I'd love to chat about, more, but I don't even know if it's for you. So it could cost you nothing. It just could cost you a conversation. And depending on what they say back, right, and what you've used for your breaking communication, it'll depend on where it goes from there. Another one, number two there, well, I'm not sure if this is what you're looking for, and I don't know if you're qualified. So it could be nothing. If you say that, it's a little more put them on the defensive, because it sounds a little more forward. So take your pick and make up your own, test them out, see what works for you. It's all about you and the way you talk to people and what feels right. I don't ever want you guys saying something just because we put it up here on the screen, because ultimately, if that's not your mentality or if that's not your attitude, it's never going to work. You got to be able to say it from the heart, from you, as if you wrote it. All right. So here's a few just little bonus tips that I've been thinking about lately. And we all get off of this. And the number one is the work-life balance. So I've talked to quite a few of you guys, and I know you work your butt off at work all day long. You guys have kids. You're up all night. You feel guilty for having time away and not working. Hey, this is your business, right? But ultimately, this business is for you and for your family. So if you screw up the family part, who cares about the business, right? So make sure that you have a good work-life balance, and don't forget to take some time for yourself, whether that's going to the gym, going for a walk around the block, just putting the headphones on and listening to some music. Whatever it is, make sure you're giving yourself that time, because if you don't, you're going to burn yourself out and it's going to be frustrating. And then you're going to call it a scam in a week and it didn't work for you. All right. I want you guys to have good work-life balance, and we all struggle with it. There's days I'm not even sure I'm in the house, but I'm sitting at the computer. So I understand. I feel your guys' pain. And then MMA, this is going to be, I'm going to write a book on this. Money-making activities. So if you're going to do the work, do you think it's better spent making a blog, an Instagram, a Twitter, a Snapchat, a Facebook, everything in the world? Or do you think it's better spent in the beginning prospecting, learning, making mistakes? You don't need a blog right now. You're going to need to learn how to market yourself, yes, but you don't need a Twitter right now. You don't need all the Instagrams, 13 different autoresponders. Just stop. You're going to drive yourself bananas. Just focus on the thing. If you get off in the weeds on the internet and think MMA, money-making activities, is what I'm doing right now going to make me any money? And right now, I want you to think more short-term. I want you to think in the next week or in the next day. Now, once you start getting 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 people, now your money-making activities, you can take them and stretch them out to a month or 2 months. Is this going to make me money next month? Is this going to make me money, 6 months from now? Those are what you want to start thinking. Once you start building a really good foundation where you have teams of people that are actually going to help you with residual. But for now, you guys do not need to focus on all that. If you haven't made a sale or 10 sales, don't worry about it. Worry about learning the prospecting part of it. Learn about helping brand yourself. Ask the hard questions. Get away from the time-consuming stuff. Don't get sucked into the matrix, and just focus on the things that are going to make you money. And the number one thing that I do, this is just personal, when I'm prospecting online, I throw some music on, because I don't know why it helps, but usually I prospect, early in the morning, right? Because everybody's up. And then from 3:30, 4, all the way up till 10 o'clock. That's when everybody's up. You have to think about when these people would be ready to buy. Are they ready to buy at 11 o'clock in the afternoon when they're on the lunch break? No, that's when you can do the other activities if you have the time. But you got to think that so much has to go right for a prospect to buy in a very short amount of time. Life gets in the way. People, babies crying, right? They're out to dinner. They're on Facebook at the restaurant, and then you're the one they're talking to, and all of a sudden they're not talking to anybody at the table, right? You don't know what's going on the other side of that screen. You have no idea unless you get into that part of the conversation, right? And that's where the break in communication is perfect, because now you are setting aside time, right? You're setting aside your time, and you're guaranteeing some time on theirs if they're serious, right? Obviously, there's going to be times where they're not serious, but if they're serious, now you just scheduled a chunk of time for you and them to talk, and it just be the two of you. So now your chances of getting that sale skyrocket. Okay. So if you can get the good break in communication, you can get them on the phone, you have what to say, that is when you can get the percentage, the likelihood of them buying is a lot better, because like you guys have experienced already, that things happen, life happens, You never know what's going on the other side of that computer or that phone. So you never really know how much attention that they're giving you. So with that said, we're going to go to Q&A if you guys have any questions. Hold on one second. Let me unmute. Okay. You guys have any questions?
No, basically just trial and error. Just got to figure out what works. Find that just stumbling blocks and go from there.
Okay. What kind of? I'm gonna unmute you guys and then unmute yourself. Okay. Just you.
Okay.
All right. There you go.
There you go. Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think just learning how to communicate with people for the most part and getting to that point once you get past the emails and the I guess I am back and forth with people, making that initial voice contact, I guess, getting to know you. So
as far as just the small talk, getting past the small talk part of it is what you're saying, and getting to the part where you're actually going into, hey, we need to talk later, or hey, I can fix this for you. Because it's either going to be value or it's going to be based off of breaking conversation. So
right.
Either you're too busy and you're going to schedule a time, which is great, right? Because now you know that they're interested enough to take the time out for you, which is a very good thing. Or you're going to help them with something which entails you scheduling out something later anyways, right? So both of those scenarios, now they're taking time out of their day for you.
Right. And then try and get them back on the phone. And they just blew you off.
Right.
I've had that between twice already. I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. Cool for you.
Yeah, they're lost.